Hey there, welcome to the channel. So, want to talk about Elon Musk canceling his deal. All right, so here we are looking at CNBC. Elon Musk notifies Twitter he is terminating the deal. So Elon Musk was supposedly going to be buying Twitter. Now he's been making a lot of claims and looking into things, and a lot of claims about there's more, bots on there than Twitter admits to, et cetera, and all these issues with it. So, what's going on apparently is that Musk's lawyer claimed Twitter failed to comply with its obligations in the merger agreement. But Twitter's board is saying that the company is still committed to closing the deal at the agreed upon price. Now, what's interesting here, let's see, it says here Elon Musk wants to end his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter, according to a letter sent by a lawyer on behalf. Twitter's board said the company is committed to closing the deal. Okay. And what's interesting, we'll pursue legal action to enforce the deal. Interesting. We are confident we will prevail in Delaware court, Taylor wrote. Interesting. So now we'll go look at the stock here. This was a surprise. I know that Meet Kevin. So looking at the stock here, we can see that, it looks like it's down about 5% in the after hours. And if we look at Twitter stock, we can see that it was, it had gone, the buyout price was, what does it say over here? $44 billion deal. I forget what the price was. Okay, let's go over here to the stock. Yeah, I forget what the price was, but I believe when this was announced, it basically jumped up to the price. So somewhere around here, right? Somewhere in here was about the price that he was going to willing to pay. But then it kept going in and investigating more and complaining about bots and all these other things like that. And, so basically now it's kind of fallen off. Now it's interesting because me, Kevin was talking about, and he was expecting that, hey, he was expecting that maybe there would be a deal, that he's going to try to buy it at a discount. And so it's interesting. It sounds like a lawsuit's going to happen, right? So he's going to back out. So he put up $1 billion. So at a minimum, you would think that Elon realizes that, hey, I'm going to have to pay that $1 billion termination fee. It's called the termination fee. So basically, if you're someone buying a company, normally you have to pay and sign some agreement to pay a big chunk of money. And what this big chunk of money does is it just basically holds the acquired entity, kind of just gives them some money to kind of assure them that you're serious about the deal, right? Because they wouldn't want to stop what they're doing or deal with you because it's a huge distraction, et cetera, et cetera. They wouldn't want to do any of that. They really would not want to do any of that stuff at all unless they had some kind of fee there. And because exactly for this reason, because what's happening is Elon is backing out now. Is it actually going to go through? Is he not going to be able to buy out? So here's my thoughts on what could go on. So it sounds like the head of the board is like, okay, look, from their point of view, it's like, you've already dragged us through this whole thing for however many months. Like, from their point of view, it's like, okay, we've kind of just dealt that you're going to buy us, so go ahead and buy us. So one option is that the Twitter basically sues Elon Musk. And so it could be, they could sue them for a couple of different things. But one of the things he could sue for is called specific performance. And the idea would be is like, okay, we're suing you, Elon, to make you follow through on your commitment for buying us for the original price. So that's one thing. The other thing is they could try to just say, okay, fine, go away, but pay us the $1 billion. And then in that case, maybe Elon would sue them and say, no, you materially misrepresented things and I don't want to pay you the $1 billion. So I assume that there's going to be a countersuit. There's going to be a lawsuit and countersuit relating to both of these items, sort of like the Amber Heard thing, right? There was a defamation suit and a counter defamation. Once you sue someone, there's always a countersuit. And so it's kind of interesting here. So it'll be interesting to see, because it's very possible that, like I said, that the Twitter board could try to sue. I mean, if you're already wasting all this time and you're already in such a mess, it's kind of like, yeah, you might as well just go for everything. So what would that mean for Twitter? Well, it's okay. what would you do? I don't know. I think I would try to sue for a specific performance. So that would be meaning that I would sue Elon Musk and say, hey, you said you're going to buy us for 44 billion, which was whatever, $50 a share, and we want you to follow through and do it. Now, what's interesting is if they actually win. So this is kind of a case that had come up in like real estate before, because I had, gotten a real estate license some time ago, and I don't do that anymore. But there's cases where it's like, okay, that have come up in California, where it's like there's case law where, it's like, okay, you said you were going to buy the house. The seller did everything that they agreed to do. And, this has happened before in real estate where they sue for performance of something, which is specific performance, which is like, hey, follow through and buy the house, where you could be forced to follow through and buy the house. So whether that would happen here, I can't say. It'll be interesting to see now, because we can go to the lawyer channels and see what kind of what they come up with. Because my view would be there's just going to be a big bunch of lawsuits, and this could take years to play out. Is this a negotiating tactic? Does anyone think it could be a negotiating tactic? Would they go through all these lawsuits and start suing each other and then agree to for him to actually follow through buying it less? Maybe this is a strategy, but it seems like it's going to be an expensive strategy from the view that, you're going to have to get, lawsuits filed and counter lawsuits filed and start this very long process. So, hey, I guess if you're like really were a person at Twitter and you were really nervous about this whole Elon Musk buying thing, then even if it goes through, it's probably going to be a long time away. Not unless they magically like shake hands and agree to something, but it doesn't really sound that way. So that's what it seems to be at this time. So it's interesting that Elon Musk stock, Tesla stock goes up. I think that's an interesting thing to keep in mind too. So basically, yeah, the Twitter stock go down 5%. You hear Tesla go up a couple percent in after hours on this news. And it kind of makes sense, I guess. It's interesting because he's already, right? Is he CEO of SpaceX, or is he just, he's really involved in definitely Tesla, but also really involved in SpaceX, right? I don't know if he has another CEO there or something. I don't know, but he's really involved in it. So for him to even be, really involved for a period of time in Twitter is it's kind of a bit much for one person. So like if you were involved in any of the other businesses, you would kind of be like, okay, this isn't really a good thing, because you really want your CEO or your executive CEO or chairman of you want them to kind of focus on that business. So you can see how, and then plus what if he's putting up Tesla stock, that's good. Of course, the other thing, if he was putting up even his personal Tesla stock, that could end up getting involved in this whole Twitter lawsuit, that he then, if he needs the money, then he might need to liquidate some of it. I mean, so maybe that would put downward pressure on the Tesla stock. This wasn't what was expected. I think Kevin was thinking that, and I would think too, that he would make an offer at some lower price. But maybe you don't do that. Maybe you don't do that because it's like there's no point in doing it. Like maybe you would be like, well, the Tesla board can't agree to that. They can't agree to just reduce the price by 30% without a lawsuit. So it's like, okay, maybe there's going to be a lawsuit anyway. So maybe you just say, no, I don't want to go through the deal, break the deal, and then claim that there was material adverse difference there, or something there, that basically you were defrauded me or something. So I don't want to pay you the $1 billion breakup fee, and and then just let the lawsuit start. And then maybe at the end of this process, or somewhere in the middle of this process, he'll actually buy it for the reduced price. Well, I think that's it for this one. Interesting news. I guess it's about time he made a decision on it. All right, that's it for this one. Bye.